You know, one of the things, Bob, that you and I were talking about earlier, that I really like about the car, I like the way the design has really evolved. I think it's a much fresher statement than the original concept, which was strong, but it was very angular. This is a lot smoother. The whole form vocabulary, I think, is great. I think some of the challenges of developing a low drag car from an aerodynamic perspective have actually added to the car. The grille being flush is much more like a nice metal inlay into the car as opposed to being something that's applied or carved into the design.
Yeah, it's these fine details that give you that second order of sophistication beyond just the shape of the car.
Well, you guys haven't missed a thing. I mean, even the closeouts here with the wipers, the A-pillar shapes, windshield shape, and all of that.
It signifies an aerodynamic statement, but it also talks to some of the other vocabulary on the vehicle. And you know, it's good for wind noise, it's good for water management, it's a win on all fronts.
What are some of the side benefits of reducing the drag, getting that aero right because the wind noise is so much better and all of that? I like the way, you know, you mentioned the shape of that closeout and how it really repeats the lower shapes here and on through the car. What's really neat, and you know, we've got a partially built model here, but that instrument panel, the console, the center stack area, the gauges and how they repeat, just so well done.
You know, it looks very much like the technology people are used to using in their handheld devices or computers that they have at home. So I think people are really going to respond positively to what they see in the interior.
I think just like with every other design we develop, you know, our designers find inspiration in many different ways, but the technology, I think, really inspired the designers to look at all the materials, all the finishes in a very different way. I mean, this door panel is a good example. I think one of the strong areas of the car is here at the rear. The car, the shape of the tail lamps, the spoiler effect, and I know this was a very important part of the car from an aero perspective, and but I think it has had a very positive influence on the design.
Yeah, you know, we were really happy with the back of the car because the graphic signature, the dark versus light, is very similar to the concept, but we introduced all of these little devices along the edge of the spoiler and the corner of the car. They're not only functional, but they tell the people who see the car on the road, that car is a little bit different. These things are here for a reason, and I think people are going to see that as part of the Volt vocabulary.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel as though great aerodynamics are really with the front of the vehicle. That's where it begins. But the tail of the vehicle, I think the benefits can be as great, if not greater. And it can be where the real aero challenges are in developing the rear of the car.
Yeah, and you know, aerodynamics and aesthetics sometimes are not completely wedded, but in this case, we met the aero performance and made the car look great.
I can just walk around this car and walk around it, just so many different things. You forgot the plug over there. We should talk about the plug.
Well, tell me a bit more. This is
about
what makes it all work, you know. I mean, people are going to be able to come home and pull this out of their wall or out of their trunk, plug it in. A couple hours later, you can drive to and from work on one charge, pennies per mile.
God, it's just such an exciting project, exciting vehicle, and the team really came through with every detail of the car. This is a design you can really live with, getting in and out of the vehicle. The port is easy to manage, every bit of it. That's good. That's the difference between just styling a car and really designing a car.